What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time in Matthew Sponauer and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to go over the Stay Hot locks for week one of the NFL season. It's finally here. We're going to, of course, preview week one of the NFL season and answer a question of the week from the chalkboard. But before we get into that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
Well, it's football day today when this comes out, so I can't be doing bad. I just released all my record predictions. We're sitting at 170 quote tweets so far, and I always think that those are fun. I mean, I'm sure I'll have some stuff. There are some valid things to critique about this. Like, will the Chargers actually win 15 games this year? Will the Eagles actually win 14 games this year? Yeah. Probably not.
I think I had the Eagles winning 13 or 14 games, so it's like...
Yeah, I mean, they probably won't, and those are some valid things to be like, you're an idiot. But I always get a kick out of people who are like, how can you think the Commanders are going to be bad? They're like, legitimately, like, how could you think this? Or like, how could you think the Lions will be better than the Bears? Like, what kind of take is that when it's like a pretty mundane, normal thing? And I love seeing some of the just insane fans.
When I gave my Bears record prediction on Instagram, bro, the Bears fans came for me. It was I've never seen.
I'm interested to see how this plays out regardless, because it seems like everybody other than Bears fans is very convinced that they're not going to be good. And Bears fans, I mean, this is true for every fan base, though. But Bears fans are convinced they're going to be pretty good. But I saw Panthers fans on my timeline predicting 11 wins yesterday. I was like, oh, man.
It's funny because every year there's going to be the different kind of main cast of antagonists in terms of the fan base who hates me. Last year it was the Bengals. Last year it was the Dolphins and the Jets. And this year it's probably still the Bengals, but it's now also the Steelers, I guess, and the
what? What did you predict the Steelers' record to be?
I said they'd go 6-11 because they have the worst starting quarterback in football behind the worst offensive line, and I don't even think Steelers fans would really dispute that. They just think that they're going to be good anyway.
Honestly, but you. And here's the thing: is you can't even argue with them because they've never just been bad.
Right? They've never been bad, but. We'll see. But Rams fans and Bears fans and Steelers fans all seem to be the ones who are looking forward to dancing on my grave this year. So it's just going to be a little rotating, revolving door every season. Yeah. Who knows who it'll be next year? Maybe it'll be the Chargers fans who all like me today. Chargers fans didn't like me last year either because I said they'd miss the playoffs,
and they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did. But before we get into things a little bit more, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as always. We're closing in on 20,000 subs here probably pretty soon. I know really close to 19,000. So let's keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. And of course, join the chalkboard community if you want to be involved in things like question of the week, the rank it, stuff like that. And then make sure to follow us on Instagram at StayHotBW, like Blue Wire, StayHotBW. And we'll be posting stuff on our story, posting all types of new Stay Hot news. Everything's going to be on the Instagram. It's going to be some good content there for you guys. But yeah, before we get into the NFL, Theo, would you
before
like
we get
to,
into that? Speaking of the YouTube, I did just drop a new video on there about some of the quarterbacks. If you root for a team that I just mentioned, the Bears or not the Steelers, but the Bears or the Giants or some team, the Falcons, who you think is going to be bad, be sure to check out my new YouTube video on some of the potential rookie quarterbacks. But it's no secret to make these videos, I stay up real late and I'm watching a bunch of film. So sometimes I'm up all night. For this video, it took a long time. So I need a good cup of coffee to keep me going through all this, film watching and whatnot. So let me tell you about Trade Coffee. It's a coffee subscription service unlike anything you've ever tried before, because they partner with the top independent roasters to freshly roast and send the best coffees in the country direct to your home on your preferred schedules. The coffee I get from Trade is so good, I really can't believe how much I like what they picked for me. And their team actually worked with us to create our own custom collection, which is great because I don't have to settle with just any average cup when I'm up late in those film sessions. If you're like me and you want your coffee to taste like a perfectly thrown goal line fade, go check out our collection at Trade, the Stay Hot collection. And if what we got isn't up your alley, don't worry. Trade will have whatever it is you want. You can shop their most popular coffee by roast or by flavor profile, or you can go take their coffee quiz and get expertly matched with coffees you'll love. You've got nothing to lose because Trade guarantees you will love your first bag. And if not, they'll work with you to replace it for free. So if you want to support small business and brew the best cup of coffee you've ever made at home, it's time to try Trade Coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off their first order, plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/stayhot. That's a lot of good coffee for not a lot of money, because at drinktrade.com/stayhot, you get $30 off your subscription for the best coffees in the country. So yes, order it.
Theo, do you like, or I guess both Matt and do you guys like your coffee cold brew, or do you prefer it to stay hot?
I prefer it to stay hot. I'm a coffee traditionalist. I just order like the most basic black coffee ever, hot, no matter the temperature.
You gotta keep your coffee
Drinking cold
hot.
black coffee.
Yeah, not that.
That's terrible.
Iced black coffee.
Iced coffee is fine too, but I usually
I like
just get a
sweet
hot,
coffee. I
normal
like when they
coffee.
put syrup in it. Me personally. I'm like a little kid.
What happened to our men? What happened to our men?
I know. I know.
No, just kidding. I like it. I like a tasty drink just as much as the rest of you, but I do like. Usually, the plain black coffee is the cheapest, and so that's like it's cheap.
It's just
fine.
not tasty to me, I'm afraid. I know that makes me less of a man and a worse person, but
Yeah, no.
You're right.
it's not yummy.
You're awful, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
I do like a hot black coffee.
Anyway, Dawson Knox got an extension today, 4 years. That's your guy, Matt.
That is my guy. I love
He
this.
deserves it, right?
He does. I didn't even see the numbers, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
He's the
You don't-
sixth highest paid tight end in the league. He got 31 million guaranteed over, I think, 4 years, I want to say. But the sixth highest paid tight end in the league is the number that kind of jumps out to me.
I mean, he was pretty dominant in the red zone last year. So, I mean, I don't totally hate it. If, you need an
he's-
outlet to throw to, like Josh
He's
Allen to
solid.
get to the red zone.
His brother just died. That was in the news the other day.
Oh,
so I
I
was
didn't-
really so I was just happy for like the sake of like the family getting some good news,
Yeah.
honestly. And I'm
Something to smile about.
Right. No, I was happy for him after that like obvious tragedy and being able to sign this deal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
know.
didn't know about that. I didn't hear about
not that I'd be happy for him either way, but like I don't know. I'm just glad he got a win, and he's a good tight end. He's progressed as a blocker. His hands were horrible to begin, his career, but he's really progressed every single season to the point where his catch rate was actually pretty high last year. And like you guys said, he's a good red zone weapon. And honestly, with Emmanuel Sanders gone and there's Gabe Davis there still, but Dawson Knox might be the second favorite target there this year. And I hope he has a huge year. Yeah.
I don't even think he's necessarily as good. Like he's just going to not get any better. Like he could improve a lot still for the Bills. I think he could be a bigger part of the offense. I mean, he had 9 touchdowns on like 70 targets, which maybe is like a little luck, but he's a great red zone threat, super physical. He's definitely improved a lot. And being the 6th highest paid tight end, like the day you sign the contract is really not that expensive. It's a good amount of guaranteed. So I like it a lot for the Bills.
Yeah. He's only 25, so I mean he can still really evolve a lot. Other news, the Steelers finally named their starting quarterback. We talked about this a little bit on our fantasy draft live stream that Mitchell Trubisky is now the starter. And I mean, they have 2 bad quarterbacks as far as I'm concerned, right? So,
well, one of them we know is bad, and one of them we think could be bad. I would start Pickett if I was them. I thought Pickett showed enough in the preseason. Pickett's a 24-year-old rookie, man. He's 24 years old. He's pro ready. Like he's not some like huge project, in my opinion. So like he looked good in preseason. And the Steelers are a team, as Steelers fans have made it very well known to me, that are competing for the playoffs. Like put in the quarterback who's not Mitch Trubisky if you're going to do that. Put in the guy with some like potential. Mitch Trubisky, don't trick yourself. Don't fool yourself. Mitch Trubisky is not good. He doesn't possess good. He doesn't possess good mechanics or poise or anything really that makes me excited about him. So yeah, he's the worst starting quarterback in the league as far as I'm concerned. And I would not start him if I had a team in a roster that I thought they were in the playoffs last year. I would rather go, even though I'm not super high on Pickett either. Like, I don't know. I trust him. He got it. He looked good in preseason. That's good enough for me. I'd rather have him than Trubisky.
Yeah. I mean, and we're going to be kind of previewing week 1 as we go through this. The Steelers play the Bengals week 1. Do you think with Trubisky as the starter, do you see a world in which they win that game, or is it kind of a lost cause?
Well,
No,
I said
impossible.
It's impossible. It is impossible. This is like Titan rolling or who's the guy who holds the world on his shoulders. Like or the guy's rolling the boulder up the hill, the endless hill. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's hell for Trubisky. There's no escape. There's no way to win. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Steelers with this offensive line and this quarterback are rolling into. I don't think they have the guys in the secondary. Like the cornerback room is fine, but it's not like really a secondary I would consider to be like elite. And the offensive line and the quarterback are all bad. Are they going to roll into Cincinnati and beat the defending champs with Mitch Trubisky? I don't really see it. I guess you could
AFC
say
champs.
Well, the defending AFC champs. You're right.
Yeah.
I guess I could see a world where like the Bengals pass rush, which was not super prolific last year. I think they were like bottom 10 in the league in pass rush win rate. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson got a lot of sacks. So maybe this isn't quite the team to beat up on that Steelers offensive line. Maybe if Hendrickson has an off game, they don't register much pressure and they can win just by, hitting the skill position talent, which they've got. And it's a game that they win like that. That's the way the path to victory I see is like the Bengals off defensive line being bad. But if they can get past the Steelers, and it's not crazy to think that even this defensive line can get past the Steelers offensive line, I don't think they have much of a shot. But there is a shot. It's just not a great
not
shot.
A good one.
It's not a great chance to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, breaks my heart.
Does it?
Breaks your heart?
No, it doesn't. Fuck the Steelers, man. I hope they go 0-17.
Oh man. Well, they won't do that. But I think the other news that I thought was interesting today is we went from a day ago, Zach Wilson potentially being out there week 1. Oh, he's so ahead of schedule. But then today, it's not only will he miss week 1, that's not happening. He's also out week 2. He's also out week 3. We want him out week 4 is maybe when he can come back because we want him to be physically and mentally ready is what they said. And I thought that was interesting wording, the and mentally part.
But just like
I
you're
think
getting at
Saleh
that they just benched Zach Wilson and they
I think they just
say it.
I think they benched him a little bit. I think they were like, we need him a little bit more time. I think they like Flacco more. I really think they like Flacco more.
Man,
can't wait to see Mike White week 5.
This happened to Sam Darnold too. He got outplayed by Joe Flacco one season. I don't remember.
He did.
So so Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. Part of this is that they're just bad, but the other side of it is Joe Flacco's actually underrated.
This is actually a big Joe Flacco.
I don't know about that, but no, you're right. You're right, Matt. That there was a season where like the best games for the Jets offense weren't the Darnold games; they were the Flacco games. And last year for the Jets, they scored 30 points twice on offense. They scored 30 points twice. The quarterbacks in those games were Mike White and I think it's Josh Johnson. Those were the two best games. The offense looked way more competent without Zach Wilson last year. And then the news out of training camp, what's Saleh saying? I think Flacco's a starter in this league. Flacco's outplaying Zach Wilson. I just straight up I think they don't like Zach Wilson. I don't think Saleh likes Zach Wilson.
This is too bad. I don't know. I think it's a little bit speculation, obviously.
Oh, it's 100%. I am making I'm like making shit up. He didn't say this, but I'm trying to read between the lines.
No,
here.
no, I can respect that. I'm sure that Jets fans will not feel the same way.
Theo has another team's fan
won't.
base it's like coming for him at this point.
They'll make up some fan fiction about Zach Wilson sleeping with.
I don't know.
Or something and
I think
post it
that
on.
like they're not a playoff team. And I don't think that Saleh gets fired if they're not a playoff team. No.
I don't think he gets fired either, unless the defense is maybe a complete disaster. I could see a world where he gets fired.
So
I could see a world where he gets fired.
Yeah, I just think that like see what you got, and you have to see what you have in Zach Wilson. You're just delaying the inevitable. Like you have to play him, even if he's terrible. You gotta play him. You cannot just like, I promise you, Flacco, maybe he'll be solid. He will not be so good where you'll be like, forget that Wilson guy. We've got Joe Flacco. We're rolling with Joe. So I guess I get it. Maybe he's really worried about, some serious improvement for the Jets, and Wilson hasn't shown it. Or maybe they're talking themselves into, if we just give ourselves a few more weeks, it'll be okay. But if he's not going to be able to practice, if the excuse is injury, and he's not going to be able to like actually like go and practice, then how much can he really improve?
Yeah, I think it'll come week 4 against the Steelers, and TJ Watt will kind of show where he is. I think that's might be what happens. I don't know. I think it's possible that Saleh gets fired. There's a stat. Matt Rule is currently the only active head coach in the league. Matt Rule is the only active head coach in the league that has missed the playoffs twice in a row and is still there. Every other coach in the league has either made the playoffs in the last 2 years or is brand new. All right. So these coaches do not get Saleh is one bad year away from being regarded as like a Matt Rule head coach, right? Like, I don't know if that's true because he had more success in the league and Rule came from Baylor, and Rule fired Joe Brady and hired Ben McAdoo, which was stupider than anything Saleh's done. So I think so. I don't know if he's actually going to get regarded as a Rule tier head coach, but missing the playoffs twice in a row gets you in like you could be fired.
I think with Saleh here though, it's like it can't possibly be playoffs or you're fired, right? Because they're just not, the roster just is not there.
No.
Yeah, I think what needs to happen is if the defense looks all right and Zach Wilson isn't the guy, maybe they'll give him another shot, but we'll see. I think it's possible. I think if they just are one of the worst teams in the league and they drafted the wrong quarterback and they had 3 first-round picks this year, and a number 2 overall pick last year. So it's not like they didn't have an opportunity and tons of cap space. So it's not like they haven't had an opportunity to build a winning team. I remember after the draft, people did seem to think the Jets were sleeper playoff teams. So I don't know how they feel about their own roster, but I don't know. I don't think it's likely, but I could see Saleh getting fired. But I don't want to sit here and say before even week 1 that the Jets, are going to fire Robert Saleh. But I do think that they don't have a lot of confidence in Zach Wilson. But
the other cool thing about Joe Flacco starting is that this is the first game that he will play against the Baltimore Ravens. Ever.
Good luck to him. That's all I can say.
God bless.
God bless.
Throw to Garrett Wilson a lot, I say.
Throw to Garrett Wilson a lot. Is it in Baltimore?
It is, I believe, in New York.
Oh, it's in New York.
That's a shame.
That is
what would be like the welcome for Flacco?
Honestly,
it'd be pretty warm, right?
Or would it be my God, it would be the warmest.
That's all. There's no way that he would get booed.
I'm just saying it's been a while. Is it a little awkward?
It's been 4 years.
That's absence makes the heart grow fonder. Like I think they would get, because it's not even like he's a real quarterback for another team. It's not like Russell Wilson is on the like it ended poorly. Like he's irrelevant now. He's basically like a retired old legend coming back. So at the beginning of the
He is,
game,
yeah.
he would get a standing ovation. I mean, any Ravens fan listening to this, like they know, like they would applaud him for 10 straight minutes. Won him a Super Bowl. He was elite that playoff run.
It's like that's
13-minute standing
They would.
ovation.
They would. Flacco, Lamar would
1
be
minute for every touchdown he threw in that playoff run.
Lamar would be telling the crowd to quiet down when they were on offense because they'd still be standing and cheering for Flacco in this playoff run.
Joe Flacco has to calm the offense down so the Ravens can. That's
Yeah.
really the advantage the Jets would have in Baltimore.
Yeah, the
Is
crowd
they
would
would
be
just
so
love-
loud because they'd be cheering for Joe Flacco the whole
We
time.
care for Joe Flacco.
But it's in
Well,
New York.
It's in New York, but I still think it'll be kind of an interesting competition. But you know where you can go to find the home of competition? Over with our good friends at Run Your Pool, bringing sports fans and their social circles together to compete, connect, and really just make every game matter a little bit more. Just how we're making the Ravens and Jets game matter just a little bit more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from Pick'em and Survivor to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. We're talking about our Stay Hot locks today. This is where you're gonna get your opportunity to compete with us in the Stay Hot locks. And that's not all. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a Survivor pool that will run all season long for us and our listeners. And we're actually going to give you guys an opportunity to prove that you know ball. Prove that you know things like the Stay Hot locks better than Stay Hot. How to play? It's simple. Go ahead and join the pool via the link in our description or at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Sign up and go ahead and make your picks. But why not make it interesting, right? Run Your Pool will be giving out $300 in cold, hard cash prizes to the winner. So if you manage to beat us, you won't walk away empty-handed. So make sure to join today at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Again, that is play.runyourpool.com/stayhot, or just check the link in our description.
Am I eligible for that 300?
Yes. If
Yeah.
I'm the last one standing, I want my reward.
I want my 300 too.
just
I
gonna-
agree.
I want my reward. This is just like Fortnite.
Well, okay, here's the question. Does it go to like Stay Hot, or does it just go to like us?
I would just if I like
Well, if
let's say I win, it goes to just me.
Yeah.
You and Theo maybe a little different, but
If I win $300,
Matt here is
if we get first, I'm getting the $300, but whoever gets second can get a long extended shout out on the show. But I'm keeping the money, man.
how long is an extended shout out?
Like, I'm looking them up and I'm giving their whole backstory if they get second place.
You're
I
like
win the money. That's
you're
the
like
consolation
telling
prize.
what high school they went to and like
Oh,
what
yeah.
sports. It's like
I'm like
their
it's like a graduation speech.
Josh Gates, the second place. It's not going to be an ordinary shot. It's not going to just be congratulations to Josh Gates for winning or getting second place in our pool after me. No, it's going to be a much more personal and authentic and heartfelt shout out than that
Heartfelt.
to really sweeten the deal.
Some
we're
Josh
holding
Gates
you
out
to
there's
that,
going
Theo.
nuts. That was a random name you thought of.
That's always
it's like Huel Jinkley.
Huel Jinkley out there when he gets second place is going to get the whole lore explained on the podcast. But speaking of these locks, last year we did a game. It was like picks, but it was only a couple teams. And we each picked a couple teams. And if we got any of the picks wrong, if any of our teams lost, we would get no points for that week. You get no points. So that's why they were the locks. They had to be stone cold guarantees.
Right. So you could pick as many as you wanted to, and they're all worth 1 point.
Right.
But you have to get them all right or you get nothing. But you get to choose how many you take.
get to choose how many you take. So, but the problem with that is at the end of the year, when I was up, I realized that I could just pick the same teams as you guys. And once I got up, there's just no chance that I ever go down. So this year we're changing it up a little bit. And not only are we going to explain our picks on the podcast instead of doing it frantically in a group chat 5 minutes before the game starts, where we're going to do a little draft. and we're each going to pick a team that we think is going to win, and we're just going to do the same concept, but we can't have each other's teams this time. So we can still pick as many as you want. So if I only have one and I pick, you pick, like Matt picks, and then like we come back around and I don't want a guy, you guys can still keep going, I think. So you can still hypothetically pick 7 teams and I only pick one, but I think that's a more fun way to do it. So we've got the week 1 schedule in front of us.
Yes.
Bladen, I believe the order went me win, Matt second, Bladen third is I think how it ended last. I don't remember except that I won.
So we actually asked the Twitter.
Oh.
That was like 1 minute ago. We put out a poll. Theo is currently up with the first pick. Matt and I are tied.
There you go.
So
I am fine with it. Either way, I will take any pick.
Will Snake. Okay, Will Snake. And
I'm just trying to see if. Oh wait. Now it's changing.
we're just gonna sit here for 20 minutes.
Yeah, trying to figure out. I can't get like an accurate read on who actually has the first pick.
We're all starting to even the out most here votes? A little bit. Why don't? Yeah, but you have the most votes right now, Theo.
Well,
it's gotta go to you.
You have the most votes.
All right. My first pick of the lock, a team that I think is just going to win. We just literally did this a couple days ago, but I've already changed my mind. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Cardinals week 1. J.J. Watt is questionable. Zach Ertz is questionable. Rondale Moore is questionable. Marcus Golden is questionable. If Marcus Golden and J.J. Watt are both questionable, their front seven is just useless. It's horrific. So they're winning. Okay. It's like they've got too many injuries. They're facing a Chiefs team with a great offensive line. The only reason the Cardinals defense is good, I'm convinced, last year is because Vance Joseph is good at designing some like different kind of blitzes, but you just should not ever blitz Patrick Mahomes. He'll just pick you apart. So there's just not going to be any pressure, and Patrick Mahomes is going to pick him apart. If he blitzes, he picks him apart. If they don't blitz, they're not going to get any pressure. I just don't see the path to victory for the Arizona Cardinals here. And they're actually going to be my first confident lock is the Chiefs over the Cardinals. So that's what I'm picking.
Matt, it looks like you're going to have the second pick. So based on a TikTok you made earlier today, I think I know who you're going to pick.
I'm going to take 49ers Bears.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I think the 49ers are the better team. I don't know. Yeah. Like this is the one problem I have with these is that like that was great analysis for Chiefs Cardinals. I just think the 49ers are stacked and I think the Bears aren't that good.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I believe the 49ers have a ridiculous defense. Even I get not trusting Trey Lance, but I think the 49ers defense is just so ridiculous and the Bears are going to go out there with pretty limited weapons. If I'm wrong and Justin Fields balls out and wins, I'm not going to be mad at it, but I'm going 49ers.
All right. Well, I guess that brings it around to me, bringing it around town.
We'll do twice in a row to you. You get 2 in a row.
I get 2 in a row?
If you want 2 in a row.
If you want to.
If I want. Well, I'm going to take the Eagles over the Lions. In my mind, the Eagles have arguably one of the best rosters in football. Offensively, defensively, they could be top 5 in both categories. I expect Jalen Hurts to be great. AJ Brown. I mean, they just have so many guys, and I think everyone is healthy at this point. So, I mean, I just have no reason to believe they're not going to beat the Lions. I mean, the Lions aren't a terrible team. Like, I think they're on the up, but the Eagles are up. Like, they went from like a playoff team last year, had the best offseason in football, and like that's a Super Bowl contender. So I think they beat the Lions pretty handily. Hopefully that doesn't age poorly though, and the Lions aren't like this year's Bengals and like beat the Vikings week 1 and then go to the Super Bowl. If I'm taking a second team right after this, I might as well take Baltimore over the Jets. We just talked about how like Joe Flacco is starting week 1, man. Like, come on, that's like what else do we need to know here? Like the Ravens are going to win that game. They're healthy. The big problem with the Ravens last year was that they weren't healthy. I mean, they had pretty much everyone out that you could possibly imagine, and when Lamar was healthy, they were still like 7-1, 6-2. They're going against this Jets team, which I don't have a lot of confidence in. I have
8-3. 8-3. I think
they were
officially.
8-3.
Yeah.
With Lamar. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like this was a banged up team, and Lamar was like keeping them in playoff contention until he eventually went down and they were just totally screwed. So if you have Lamar healthy and everyone else healthy, I have a hard time believing, and they got better this offseason too. I have a hard time believing that they're not just wiping the floor with the Jets. So Eagles over Lions and Ravens over Jets. Those will be my first two picks. So that goes back to Matt then.
I'm debating. All right, I'll take Saints Falcons.
Yeah.
I'll take the Saints over the Falcons too. I don't like that it's on the road, but I do like that the Falcons are rolling out a new quarterback and their offensive line isn't that good and the receivers aren't that deep, and you're going up against a very good Saints defense.
Yeah.
This is one of the more heavily favored games this week for a reason. And Michael Thomas is looking to play.
Yes, sir.
That makes me feel very good about that offense too. I'm a Jameis believer. I'm excited to see what those guys can do. So
and
I'm taking the Saints.
And Kamara is not going to get suspended.
And Kamara, yeah, they've got guys there.
All right, then I will go with the Colts over the Texans. I do think the Texans, I like some aspects of their team. I think their running game is actually going to be all right behind Kenyon Green and Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard and Dameon Pierce. Like, I think they'll be able to run the football. I like Brandon Cooks. I think that Davis Mills has the potential to be fine. But on defense, I still like... We'll see. We'll see. I guess, like Lovie Smith said that, how would you like to cover the number one wide receiver every time? Derek Stingley. And then the preseason, he just played a lot of cover 2 and had Derek Stingley like in zone in the flats. I'm like, okay. Overall, I think this Texans defense will be one that Matt Ryan will be able to pick apart. I don't think it's going to be a very complex defense from Lovie Smith. And when you have a veteran quarterback like Ryan, I think that he'll be able to exploit its weaknesses. And yeah, you get a fully healthy Quentin Nelson, you get a fully healthy Ryan Kelly, you get Jonathan Taylor against this front seven, and I think they're going to be able to move the football up and down the field. And I think Davis Mills is all right. I do, but is he good enough to go and beat the Colts? I'm not so sure. So I'm going to take them, and then I'm going to take the Bengals for reasons that I've mentioned on previous podcasts and earlier in this podcast. Is Mitch Trubisky behind the Steelers' offensive line? I think we're going to realize pretty quickly is not a winning strategy for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'll take the Bengals over the Steelers as my lock, and that gives me 3 teams.
I'm out.
You're out.
All right.
Yep.
I think I might be out too. I thought about rolling with the Browns over the Panthers.
Yeah, take the Browns. Come on.
But I literally,
unless you think they're not going to win.
Here's the thing: is my biggest fear is like Christian McCaffrey's healthy week 1, and I do not like how the Browns run defense looks this year. I think McCaffrey
going to beat the brakes off you guys. And Baker's going to throw 4 touchdowns.
I think McCaffrey could have like 200 total yards. Like something crazy.
More, honestly.
I literally...
Why are you hating?
I have a video coming out like later today or tomorrow where I literally... Whatever expectations you have for Christian McCaffrey, week 1, double them. Because he is going to have himself a day,
400 all-purpose yards. Well, I'm going to take one more then. I'm going to take the Broncos over the Seahawks.
Yeah, okay.
Trey Brown is out. That means the Seahawks are going to have an array of cornerbacks out there that is frightening to me against Russell Wilson. I think that it could be bombs away. And I don't know. Yeah. I just do not trust that secondary against the Broncos. And, there's a chance that if you guys are each picking 2, I'll pick 4 and try to get an early lead here.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the Broncos. We'll see. So I've got Chiefs, Bengals, Colts, Broncos. It's like a parlay. All of them have got to hit for me to profit here. But yeah, those are my 4.
All right. I can't hate on you for that. I just can't bring myself.
I do kind of think 4 is too many.
Yeah.
But
two I think is a good sweet spot. I almost picked Bills over the Rams just because I'm like, oh, well, Stafford's kind of iffy on like his elbow.
We'll
And
see.
we don't know how good Allen Robinson actually is. And
Stafford's
don't have the guts to do that.
Stafford's elbow worries me more week 15 than week 1.
Yeah,
I think I'll say that.
That's where my mind went. And then I was also like, well, I also remember when Stafford like dislocated his shoulder and then threw a game winner. So I don't know if like.
Oh yeah, Rams fans, I'm sure, screaming at us every time we bring up Stafford's shoulder, like elbow. That it's like, oh, because McVay said that he feels comfortable with Stafford throwing it 55 times a game if that's what it takes. So, I mean, there's a chance we're making a big deal out of nothing with Stafford's elbow, and that's not even like the number one reason. It's mostly the rushing offense that I'm scared of with them. I do think the
offensive line is a little bit suspect.
I do think the Bills will win that game, but that's a questionable lock to me.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think they'll win. I don't know if I can justify locking it though. But yeah, those are the Stay Hot locks. Week 1. Wait, who's making Theo? Are you making that graphic again? I know you made them last year with like the squiggly lines and.
I made them last year. I would prefer if our esteemed graphic design people could make them this year, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe I'll just write them down on the piece of paper like I did for
and
my
just like take a picture of it.
Just take a picture of it. A good old paper.
Get a whiteboard.
Get a whiteboard.
If you had a chalkboard, that'd be cool.
Yo, a chalkboard would go crazy.
I've got a whiteboard to my right here. But anyway, yeah. No, I think I'll just maybe send that off to the graphics team. It's not an insanely difficult graphic to make. If you do want to parlay our winner picks, you can do that on oddstrader.com. And today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at OddsTrader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, OddsTrader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers from multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for all your game day bets. To begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. So go and download it from the App Store today.
All right. Now, week 1 preview. Here's the big shebang. NFL season. It's finally here. I've waited way too long.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to watch my Browns play some football.
Well, you're not going to want to watch what happens on Sunday.
I think an interesting segment for week 1 is we've already talked about some games that we think are gonna swing one way in our lock segment.
Yeah.
But in all the other games that are maybe a little bit more up in the air, like I want to talk about maybe some matchups or specific things you guys are excited to see, kind of games within the games, matchups, units for some of these teams that we haven't talked about yet. So in Bills, we'll start with Bills because that's today. Bills Rams because that's today.
Yeah. When the episode comes out,
Are there any questions you guys have about these teams that maybe you're the most excited to see? Maybe not answered, but the start of the answer from either the Bills or the Rams here in their matchup.
I just like the whole Rams offense, right?
Yeah.
Like what is it? What is the offensive line going to look like? What's a run game going to look like?
What is Stafford elbow? Like is Stafford's elbow?
Really like Allen Robinson? How much is like, this is the first time in his career he's had a good quarterback. What is that going to look like? And with the Stafford elbow stuff, And you don't know how Cam Akers is going to look. There's a lot of questions. So I'd say that whole offense.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cheating, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see if Cooper Kupp can do it again, and if he can put up like 90 yards like he did in every single game last year. The Bills do have one of the best nickel corners in the league in I think it's Taron Johnson, if I have his name right, which I'm going to look up right now. Yes, it is Taron Johnson.
Yeah,
It is
have the lineups up.
It is Taron Johnson. So I'm excited to see that matchup if Taron Johnson is in the slot versus Cooper Kupp. And I'm excited to see if Cooper Kupp could keep up that blistering pace that he set for himself last year. So that's like maybe the matchup I'm most excited to watch. Obviously, Matt Milano. And like our team's going to play the Rams and Cooper Kupp differently. And how can you even play him differently? Are you going to move Trey White into the slot? Are you going to like follow him around with Trey White? Can you even do that if you put like Cooper Kupp into the backfield? So yeah, I'm with you, Matt. There's a lot of things about this offense, like the whole Rams offense specifically. But I mean, on the Bills, I'm excited to see how Taron can do against the fire-breathing slot dragon that is Kupp.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit concerned about the Rams linebackers. I mean, we've talked about obviously Bobby Wagner's Wagner worries me a little bit, and it's like this Rams team or not this Bills team is going to come out throwing the football, right? They're going to come out guns blazing, but like you look at the matchup of like Stephon Diggs and Jalen Ramsey, right? That might be something that the Bills don't want to take advantage of because we saw that we saw what the Bengals did. The Bengals wanted to go at Ramsey, but the Bills might not want to because who do they have inside to abuse linebackers and down safeties? Dawson Knox, the guy that they just signed to an extension. So I'm interested to see kind of how Dawson Knox can be. I think he could have a pretty big game if the Bills want to utilize him inside like that. And
James Cook, Dawson Knox, Isaiah McKenzie. There's a lot of ways that they can take advantage if Bobby Wagner is out there and has lost another step or looks the same like he did last year. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm excited to watch. Last year, the Rams played a lot of 5-man front with one linebacker out there, just the one guy. A lot of times that guy was Troy Reeder. Later in the season, they realized Ernest Jones was a better way to go with that. So I'm excited to see if they deploy that strategy again and just have Bobby Wagner out there because I really am excited about Ernest Jones. But yeah, that's definitely a aspect that I'm excited to watch for them as well.
Yeah.
Next game here.
Yeah. The Rams just scare me. I guess I was wrapping that up.
It's stars and scrubs on the Rams, man. It's a little bit stars and scrubs. Browns Panthers, we've talked about this a lot. I don't know how much time we want to spend on it, but
don't need.
Is there a non-Baker revenge arc that you're excited to watch from this one?
JC Horn. I'll give you that one. I want to see what JC Horn's going to do. Cornerback 1, no hiding, no messing around. You spend a top 10 pick on him. All right. Now, granted, maybe there's more, Bladen, cover your ears, but maybe there's more lethal passing attacks they could be going up against. However, I think Amari Cooper is still, a pretty serious receiver. So I'm excited to watch him. I'll be watching him pretty closely.
Yeah, I imagine Amari Cooper is going to be getting a lot of targets week 1, or at least a lot of, he'll be the first option on a lot of plays just because, that he's a guy that's a good route runner, is able to get open. And with a guy like Jacoby Brissett back there, who's not the brightest quarterback to have, not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to QBs, you're going to want to go after. I think it's going to be, is it Brissett's the guy? Is Brissett the guy that likes his tight ends or hates his tight ends? I can't remember. I can never remember if he's the guy that likes his tight ends or not.
Well, he played in. I don't remember really. I don't know. I don't know what his.
I don't remember.
I would guess he likes them, but that's literally a guess.
But
the other thing I
like Amari Cooper and Njoku could be the guys to go after there.
I agree. The other thing I like is Okongwu versus Myles
Garrett. Yeah.
That may not go well, I'm afraid.
Yeah. That's a pretty tough first matchup. Like
I can see the Garrett on Baker strip sack now. Oh my God! Posted to Twitter, 10,000 likes. If you're the first one to clip that video and post it out, you're going viral.
I know. I'll be watching on my computer.
I'm ready.
And
You're gonna Theo. You're gonna get 15,000 likes on Bobby Wagner slow play or something tomorrow. I literally
Dawson Knox
guarantee
just breaks
it. I know it's gonna happen.
They're gonna hit James Cook in the flat. Bobby Wagner is going to open his hips and try to track it down, and James Cook is just going to run right by him. And I'm going to already be, the scene like the monkey watching the like monitors in Toy Story 4, where he's just like watching it like with eyes and just like ready to sound the alarm. That's going to be me. That's going to be me watching Aquanu and Myles Garrett, and it's going to be me watching Bobby Wagner against the Bills. So yeah, you're right. I'm hoping that I can get a viral tweet out of there. And if Bobby Wagner makes a great play, if he looks fast, if he looks sharp, I'll clip that too, Rams fans. I will clip if he does something awesome. I will say Bobby Wagner looking a lot faster than last year. But that just doesn't usually happen for 34-year-old linebackers when they're 34.
Unless he has that like Tom Brady gene where he's like sold his soul to the devil or like.
Last year, Tom Brady's arm looked stronger than it's ever looked, and Bobby Wagner's legs didn't look stronger than they've ever looked. So I don't know if
fair enough.
Bobby Wagner's got the Tom Brady gene editing going on. Packers Vikings is one that we have not talked about.
And Packers receivers are the thing to watch there. Oh my! Who is even going to be out there? I'm not sure.
The Packers are losing this game, man. I have the Vikings at 11-5 and the Packers at 10-6. This is where the Vikings get that one win to put them ahead of them. Okay, the Packers are probably not going to have Bakhtiari, Jenkins. They might not have Lazard or Christian Watson. Like this is just. I think they'll get. Maybe it's stupid for me to think the Packers will get healthier as the year goes on, but they've got some guys coming back that makes me think they're going to be better towards the end of the year than right now. This is like one of the rare games where I feel confident that Danielle Hunter is going to be healthy and Zadarius Smith is going to be healthy. And this fully operational Vikings team versus this kind of hampered Packers team. Like I kind of think the Vikings might take this one, and I'm most excited to watch. But I am most excited to watch Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark in the interior, and just like what that can be, because that could really, really be disruptive. That pass rushing duo is a real potential problem that not many teams have in the middle of the field right there, and you're going up against. Garrett Bradbury and a pretty bad Vikings interior offensive line. So as a Packers fan, I'm excited to see what they can do.
I wouldn't be totally out on Green Bay in this game. I'm
not totally out on them. I'm just picking defense, the Vikings.
It's not like you locked the Vikings to beat the Packers, Theo, although that is something that you would do.
It is.
That is something that you would do, is lock your own team to lose. No, I just see like the Packers defense is legit. They have a lot of talent there. And all you would need is like Rodgers he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. So if you can get, like a couple plays to, Jones, or maybe one of the rookie receivers has a pretty solid game. You could maybe pick on Patrick Peterson a little bit. I know
Vikings
he can definitely
is
be
not that good. That's the thing. Is like the Vikings secondary.
Who's their best corners? What? Cam Dantzler?
It's probably Cam Dantzler, who's a little slow and unathletic, but overall usually posts decent coverage numbers. So, and Patrick Peterson is also a little slow and unathletic at this point. So it'll be possible to exploit their secondary. It's not an unwinnable game for the Packers. Like, of course not. It's just, I think that this is one where they're not quite at full strength yet, and the Vikings are, and that's what it comes down to. The other thing I'm excited to watch is how do they play Jefferson? Is Jefferson going to be in the backfield? Are we going to see him in the slot for 90% of his snaps? Is he going to be in that Cooper Kupp role, running a bunch of option routes and blocking a little bit to try to get him on like linebackers and stuff like that? Because a lot of people are projecting monster season from Justin Jefferson because of the possibility of him in that role. So that's the other thing. Maybe like scheme wise that I'm most
Yeah.
excited to see what that Vikings offense does with him.
Yeah, because if you're trying to get Jair on him, but they're like putting him in the backfield, then you're just like, oh well.
Right. If
Tough.
Cooper Kupp, who is like Hunter Renfro tier before like this year, can thrive in kind of that fullbacky slot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been in that role a little bit, but like last year was even a little bit different. So
Well, and
we'll see.
and
That's-
Stafford really loves to overfeed like the same guy.
or properly feed if it.
Yeah,
if
I
it's
guess.
working,
Yeah,
you
bro,
know?
they won
Like,
they won the Super Bowl, so I guess yeah.
yeah, it's hard to overfeed Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp when he's playing like that. But yeah, that's the other thing I'm excited to watch.
Fair enough. Another interesting game I think we should talk about in honor of our good friend Nico, Elite Takes, is the Miami Dolphins with the addition of Tyreek Hill against the New England Patriots. Are we still going to be riding this Tua hate train all season long, or do you think there's a?
I have them winning a playoff game. So I think I'm excited to watch Tua, I guess, but these wide receivers on the Patriots corners, I think, is the key thing to watch. And if the Patriots corners can hold up against Tyreek Hill and Waddle, then I'll feel a lot better about the Patriots going forward. So I think that's the main thing that I'm looking forward to is like, can the secondary survive this test right away? Even more so than Tua or Mac Jones or whatever. It's like Patriots corners look like one of the worst units in the league, but Belichick is a guy who can coach these dudes up. So what's going to win, the perceived lack of talent or Belichick's prowess in scheme and development?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be Jalen Mills and Jonathan Jones on the outside, it looks like right now, which under normal circumstances, I don't think bodes well for a starting secondary unit. But
yeah,
but with Bill Belichick, you never know.
To the hate, I mean, I'm not gonna, unless Tua looks great, I'm gonna say that he's bad, even if he does well.
Yeah.
I think he can be Jimmy Garoppolo. That's just where I'm at. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the battle between the perceived massive strength and massive weakness of both of these teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide who I like more in this game because the Patriots are always better than you think they're going to be.
Except against the Dolphins.
Except against the
Dolphins.
What is their record against the Dolphins? Are they like notorious? Like I know
they
that
get beat by the even when they were in their dynasty, the Dolphins beat them like once a year. It's funny. They're not as good.
I know
as
that I know there's like the one play where like Gronk like trips.
I think that's so funny. That was one of my favorites. Just put your safety out there, man. Just put up your backup safety. I don't put Rob Gronkowski out there.
Rob Gronkowski was like 31 when that play happened too.
That was just overthinking that, I'm afraid.
That was overthinking that a little bit. That was rare Belichick L. Do you guys have any matchups in this game or any storylines that you're really locked in on outside of the wide receivers for the Dolphins and maybe anything else?
Patriots are 21-13 against the Dolphins since 2005.
Which is a good record, but they're like, 25 and they have like a 99% win rate against everyone else. So
yeah, I guess that's fair. It's bad comparatively speaking.
Anything else?
I think it was just like the receivers, Tyreek Hill, Waddle against Jalen Mills and Jonathan Jones. It looks like a complete mismatch.
I predict it's going to be. I predict Belichick can't coach. I mean, they're going to play because, like, what can you play? It's not like Tua. You worry about them taking the top off the defense, right? So if you play a bunch of cover 4 and try to take away the deep ball, like Tua can still. He doesn't want to throw the deep ball, but are you really just gonna like stack the box and play all this underneath coverage against Hill and Watt? Like, are you actually gonna do that? Like,
right.
Are you that unafraid of Tua that you're gonna like play Tyreek Hill like he can't burn you over the top? So that's what I'm interested to see is like what kind of defense are they going to play? Like what I assume they're going to be playing mostly zone and not manning up on these two, but
I feel like Belichick is a ballsy dude to run some crazy defenses. He knows some things. He knows some things.
Dallas versus Tampa. Let's start. That's a rematch from Week 1 of last
Sunday Night
year.
Football.
Do we think this is going in the same direction as last year with the Tampa Bay victory, or what are you guys looking for here?
I would lean yes. I like Dallas, but they had Trayvon Diggs playing kind of out of his mind with he
especially in that first game.
That's what I'm saying. I think he had 2 picks in this game. So I don't know if I would. And I think they still lose.
Oh yeah,
he had 2 picks and they still lost. So I don't know. Dak's a good quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb is kind of poised for a big season. And maybe you're a little bit low on the Tampa secondary, who has never really shown to be special. But when you look at like the Dallas offensive line, without Tyron Smith and you're really, this is probably the worst Dallas offensive line we've seen
in a long time. And I'm assuming 40-year-old Jason Peters, who got signed like 3 days ago, isn't going to be like ready to go against pretty good edge rushing duo. Yeah, I think Tampa's probably going to win this one. But I mean, Dallas, I don't know. Dallas is also a very good team. You can see the offense. If Dak balls out in spite of the offensive line, it wouldn't shock me. He's still got some weapons.
Right. I'm excited to watch what they do. I'm actually excited to watch Anthony Barr in this game. And they just picked him up off the street a couple weeks ago. And he's a big name, so I'm excited to see if he has anything left in the tank. And I'm excited to see if this means that Barr and Vander Esch are their 2 linebackers in nickel, and we see Micah Parsons at full-time edge. That's what I'm the most excited to watch. I'm excited to see, can Barr hold up as a off-ball linebacker enough that they can play Parsons at full-time edge, and you get that pass rush back that you seemingly had maybe lost a little bit of when Randy Gregory left. So that's, I think, the storyline that I'm most excited to watch. And of course, Trayvon Diggs versus potentially Mike Evans. Trayvon Diggs, one mistake, Trayvon Diggs, and you're trending on Twitter and you're everywhere. So that's going to be a really, really fascinating storyline on primetime Sunday night.
I can already see because here's the thing, Mike Evans does not carry the perception for a lot of people as being an elite route runner, but I can already see him running a hitch and go, Trayvon Diggs jumping on the hitch, and it being a 40-yard touchdown.
I can certainly picture it. Now Diggs balled out, like we said in the last game. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm also excited to watch the interior of the Tampa Bay line, since they lost all 3 of their interior linemen. So what's that going to look like? But I'm excited to watch all of that. This is going to be
it should be a really good. Listen, the NFL scriptwriters went crazy with this one.
The CeeDee Lamb Offensive Player of the Year campaign starts week 1 here. So
is he your projection for Offensive Player of the Year?
He's my pick. He's my pick, and people are like, "You're crazy! You're crazy! CeeDee's not that guy." Cooper Kupp just won Offensive Player of the Year, and he was a Hunter Renfrow caliber guy and broke out at age 29. Right, CeeDee Lamb, after 2 years of playing great, and now as the number 1 guy, is not exactly the craziest leap in the world to take when you look at where Devontae Adams was year 2 versus the jump he took year 3, and where Cooper Kupp was even last year to where, or 2 years ago to where he is this year. So I'm excited to push some CD narratives, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah, I could see it. I guess the other relatively big game would be Chargers and Raiders. This is a rematch from the end of last season. Chargers had an opportunity to get to the playoffs. Herbo balled out. Mike Williams balled out, but it wasn't enough. They came up just short in overtime, and the Raiders went on to the playoffs. I have a funny feeling, though, that this rematch could end up being kind of this is another game where I almost could lock it, but I could see it being a blowout in the Chargers' favor. Like as someone
they've got no JC Jackson against Devontae Adams. That's
a little bit nervous, but like, bro, who the hell is guarding Mike Williams downfield?
My boy Nate Hobbs. Well, you're the one who loves the Raiders.
I do love the Raiders, but not their secondary, man. I could see a Mike Williams masterclass. I could see a Justin Herbert masterclass, even with like the pressure from Crosby and Chandler Jones does have his like week 1 masterclass. Like I know that's like a common thing. So maybe the Raiders get like 5 sacks and the Chargers can't hang. Maybe the Raiders blow out the Chargers week 1. Maybe that's what happens. And
well, that's a big swing.
It could be either way. I don't know. I think it could be an interesting game. No JC Jackson.
I almost locked this one, but also I could see the Raiders blowing the Chargers out.
Yeah, that's why I didn't. I'm just like, there's too much of a swing on this one. I'm not going to risk it.
I'm excited to see what edge rushing duo looks better between Mack and Bosa.
I agree.
And Crosby and Jones.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the whole Chargers' new front 7 pieces.
And I'm excited to see Herbert, my MVP pick, and I obviously have the Chargers having a ridiculously good record. So I'm just excited to watch. Like the Chargers better come out looking nice, because if they start 0-1 and I have them losing 2 games all year, then people are going to point and laugh at me. And I'm going to have to cover my face and say, I was just trying to be interesting. It was a hot take for views.
It was a social experiment.
It was a hot take for views.
It was a prank. It was a social experiment.
I didn't actually think.
I was trolling. You fell for it.
It was for clicks.
You all fell for it.
It was clickbait. And then the last game that we haven't talked about is the Tennessee Titans versus the New York Football Giants. My producer told me that I was too low on the Giants. He said, why they're not going to be the worst team in the league. Look at their schedule. I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see Wink Martindale try to blitz with this secondary. I just want to see if he actually is going to be a madman and do that for the second straight year, blitz all the time with a horrible secondary. I think that's like the thing I'm most excited to watch, is if he's actually going to do that, because like I don't think it's gonna work. And then in a similar vein, I'm excited to watch Treylon Burks versus I'm excited to watch Treylon Burks. I just watched a bunch of KJ Jefferson in Arkansas, and I watched Treylon Burks like just moss everybody and run through everybody and run past everybody. I was like,
he's so good.
That's this
Treylon Burks versus Bama, man. That game is always my favorite. I love
Burks could be special. So I'm excited to watch Burks, and I'm excited to watch this Wink Martindale defense. Is there anything else that is on your guys' radar from this game?
I mean, Derrick Henry, kind of his return. I know it's like he was back for the playoffs, but excited to see him back at full health. See what he can do. What kind of damage he can instill against the New York Football Giants.
With no Blake Martinez. Oh, they're fans. Oh, that was so funny when they cut him, and Giants fans were like, why would I ever think this? Why would I ever expect more from this team? Will the defense be salvageable without the great,
the great Blake Martinez?
The still unsigned and maybe out of the league Blake Martinez.
Speaking of guys that unsigned, Treader ended up.
He
retired. Yeah.
Said he was thinking about coming back. I'm sure he could have gotten a job.
The Browns could use him. They don't have a center right now.
How did you make this about the Browns? I'm in awe. You know who else is unsigned? Former Brown J.C. Treader. It's a gift.
It's a gift.
You know what else would be a gift? Fubo TV. If you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you a complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone Plus games in 4K at no extra charge. Over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. Watch on all your devices and never miss a game or an episode of your favorite TV shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/stayhot. That's FUBOTV.com/stayhot.
I'll never get over like TV is letters, not word. But
I'm over it from last week.
I'm not.
You've conceptualized it.
I've conceptualized it.
Matt's grown up.
I'm a little. Yeah, I'm not a baby. The hell.
Yeah. So let's move on to the question of the week.
We have 2 questions of the week.
Yeah, the first one is, what is the best SpongeBob episode?
Theo, what's your favorite SpongeBob episode?
The one where they're all at a band and they play at the Super Bowl halftime show.
I kind of thought you were going to be like, I don't have a favorite.
Bikini Bottom?
I don't have a favorite. Like, I'm not going to sit all high and mighty acting like I've never enjoyed a SpongeBob episode before, because there are good ones. I would act high and mighty if you said that SpongeBob, if you're a grown-ass man and you say that the best TV show you've ever seen in your life is SpongeBob SquarePants, then I have a little bit of a problem. But to say there's never
Jerry,
been...
though?
That's... That one gets... Well, no one would ever say that, so I'm not worried about it. No way. I'm not going to sit here and say there's never been any good SpongeBob episodes. There absolutely have been, and the best one is the one in the band. From start to finish, it's a masterpiece. Really, I don't know. It's just, is mayonnaise an instrument, and the whole like band practice, and that whole process of them getting ready it would be a good episode by itself, and then you get the payoff at the end of the way better than it should be actual performance where Squidward prevails over Squilliam. That's just, I mean, that's the indomitable.
What's not to love?
Right, what's not to love? You know, that's a great arc. It's the best episode for sure.
It's a great episode.
Bladen.
There's so many good ones.
I just knew you weren't going to give a straight answer. I knew you weren't. I knew you were like, well, I've been debating it.
I have been debating.
Bladen's gonna say one of the recent ones because he still like diligently keeps up.
No, it's not one of
the like a top 5 TV show of all time for you. Well, you're thinking, Matt, what is your favorite SpongeBob episode?
I don't know the name. It's like the one where there's that bear and they have to draw a circle in the sand.
The camping episode.
Yeah, that one's a classic.
That's a good one. I like.
Or the box episode. Maybe I'm gonna go with the box episode. Actually, that's the best one.
The box episode is more memorable to me than the bear one. All I remember with the bear one is the fact that the bear happened.
The bear happened. I like the pizza delivery one. Where it's like, the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you, man. And then he like drove the rock. It's like, it's not just a boulder, it's a rock. Or like I don't know what it's called, but it's like the one where they're like, SpongeBob and Patrick are like competing to see who's like the best fry cook, because Patrick starts working at the Chum Bucket.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. I don't know. I don't know the names of any of these episodes.
I don't know the names of them. Happens. Or like, what was the one where like Gary, like SpongeBob is training Gary like to the bone to compete as like the pet competition, and then Patrick just wins with a rock.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Classic.
Discussing these like this fine whiskey or something.
Those would probably be my most memorable ones.
I also like Opposite Day a lot, where they pretend to be Squidward and the realtor, like Squidward tries to sell his house and then they pretend to be Squidward and the house doesn't get sold. I thought that one was pretty good too. And Sailor Mouth when they learned to... Yeah, the Sailor Mouth one where they learned to swear, I also thought was a classic. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
You know, this is actually funny. This actually just came up because my dad is in a band, and like the 70-year-old guitar player had never seen SpongeBob before, and they were talking about it. He's 70 years old with no kids, okay? Don't look at him like he's an insane person. Well, maybe he does have kids. I'm not sure. They're older kids, though. It's not like he's a couple of years older than my dad. But anyway, so we sent him a list of the top 10 SpongeBob episodes. So we were actually just thinking about this.
Okay.
It's like a show that you have to see, you know, at least once in a while.
I think so. It's like a pretty highly regarded.
It's no Tom and Jerry.
It's no Tom and
it's no Star Wars Rebels. But yeah.
Hey, Star Wars Rebels is great. Don't sleep.
I've never seen it, so I can't say it's good or bad.
All right. The other question of the week. This one is from Luke Frandy. He asks, need a book. So we're giving book recommendations now.
My favorite book of all time is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. I think that book rocks, and really anything with Kurt Vonnegut is good. It's got a pretty digestible, Vonnegut has a pretty digestible writing style. Even me, who went to ASU, can digest it. Okay, so even an Arizona State student can grasp these Vonnegut books. Well, they're also being very, very smart and all of that. So, yeah. It's occurring to me that our producers say he may have been talking about a sports book.
I actually have one for this. It's a little older, but the Football Unencyclopedia is very funny. My mom got that for me a long time ago. It's a very funny book.
That is what kind of projected you into this podcast.
Maybe.
It's kind of late, but the Football Outsiders Almanac comes out every year in July. And I use those. I read every chapter of that book. It's a big book, tons of good information in it. And that if you want, it's a lot of previewing the season. So it's a better off-season read than like a during the season read because, some of the things and some of the predictions, they're always not going to age well. And then you might feel like you're reading outdated information. But the Football Outsiders Almanac every single year is a really worthy read. And if you get it soon or get it online, you can still read all the chapters without the season being too long in it and being too irrelevant. So that would be my football book recommendation.
Well, I haven't gotten the chance to read it, but I'm working on getting a copy of Bill Walsh's book. Because apparently we can get it shipped to our library on campus. So I'm working on getting that done. And I imagine for $500, it's a pretty damn good read. But if you can either afford to buy it or you can find a library that'll get it delivered,
yes,
it's probably
campus libraries. That's where I got it. That's where I read it. It was a campus library.
And you thought
cool
it was good?
I thought it was good. I thought some of it is a lot of it would be better to read if you're a coach. Because it's how to create a winning atmosphere. I created a winning atmosphere in a locker room. And it's well, I don't need to do that. Just talk to me about how you look at quarterbacks. But there's sections of that too, where he's this is how I scout every position. This is kind of what I'm looking for. So I thought there was definitely some interesting bits. I would never pay $500 for this book, but if you can find it on your campus library, like I did at ASU, or rent it online through your campus library, then it's a worthy read.
I think the most interesting thing about that book to me is when I was looking up, I was trying to find ways to get it. Apparently the reason that he wrote the book was because after he retired, he just felt totally useless. And he but at the end of his career, he just hated his coaching job as well. So it was he couldn't go back and coach because he didn't want to do that. Right. He was not having fun at the end of it, but he was too smart to just sit around and do nothing. So he wrote a book on his entire philosophy because he was
Bill
bored.
Walsh. It's Bill Walsh. He's probably top 3 head coach of all time, maybe higher. So,
I'd say top 2.
It's worthy if you can find it for not $500. I don't know why it's so expensive, but it is.
But my favorite book of all time, non-sports, is Animal Farm. That is a great read. If you have a chance to read it, you can probably find it at any library. That basically was the seed that planted my my anti-capitalist propaganda.
Is it an anti-capitalist book? I thought it was anti-communist. Don't the pigs take over and they think they try to implement a communist system and then it doesn't work and they're the same as before? I've never read it.
So it's because they end up trying to create this we're all equal, but it's if you think about, I'm trying to because I haven't read it in years, but it's they try to implement this system where they're we're all equal, but really the pigs are just putting themselves above everyone else anyway. So it's not even it's just capitalism again, right? That's all. It's just like slavery, capitalist. Like it's just the whole shebang again. But I wouldn't say it's a criticism of communism.
I thought it was a criticism of the Soviet Union, which is
it could be
something maybe like a little bit worth criticizing. But
like if it's going to be a criticism of the Soviet Union, I could, but like that's how I interpret it. I was like, oh well, it's just like, you know, the wrong people try to overthrow a bad system and they just created another bad system, right? Or it could be just like, you know, about like how power can be. How power can, like, you know, construe, you know, anyone's philosophies. I don't know. It's a good read. I haven't read it in a long time though. I might reread it again.
Yeah, I've never read it, so obviously what I'm saying is just based on dialogue online. So I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah.
Books. I probably should start reading more. I don't know.
I wrote a book.
You wrote a book?
I didn't. I read a book called "How to Watch Basketball Like a Genius," which I thought was pretty interesting because I needed to learn how to watch basketball like a genius. But it wasn't so much about scheme and everything like that. It was basically a guy talking to, like astrophysicists and seeing what they see. Like, how does basketball relate to like this totally different thing? And I thought that was kind of a cool book. And I also learned a lot about the history of basketball. Like, apparently early on, there was a game before the rule book was established. There was no rules on how many players you could have on the court at one time. And there was a game with like 50-person teams and no one scored because there was too many people on the court. And I thought there was just a bunch of interesting tidbits like that. That was the last book I read. I thought that was it was an interesting read. It wasn't quite what I was looking for in terms of like strategy and scheme of all this, but I thought it was interesting. I read the whole thing pretty quick. So yeah.
Okay. I just looked it up. The theme of Animal Farm wasn't supposed to attack any like economic system. It was just supposed to be like an allegory on like totalitarianism and like corruption of ideals and just like how power can corrupt.
Comments, debate Animal Farm and its meeting. I want a discussion
Animal
post.
Farm. I want
a
minimum 300 words
and respond to 2 of your classmates. All right. Yes. I want a 300 word response and then respond to 2 of your classmates in the comments.
There will be a DBQ on this on Friday.
You will be tested on the Stay Hot Stay Hot canvas.
Stay Hot canvas.
Let's get out of here.
Can we make a canvas page? Is that something?
I think we could.
Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Just give like weekly quizzes about like the Stay Hot lore.
Nothing. Books.
Knowledge.
Nothing sports related.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps things up for us. As always, Sunset of Content Kimberly on all platforms. Make sure you watch Theo's All 22 on what quarterbacks did you take a look at?
Tyler Van Dyke, KJ Jefferson, and Anthony Richardson. All right. Go take a look at Theo's All 22. I have a Madden video coming out. Episode 2 of my Seahawks franchise. Make sure you check that out as well. And as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.